What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we are continuing our PostgreSQL series by looking at order by, limit, and offset. Now, order by is the one that we're really going to focus on in this lesson because it's used all the time. Limit and offset I use in specific circumstances, and I'll explain that because that's what we'll look at the very end. But order by is just a way of ordering your data in your output. So after we actually filter our data, after we select what columns we want, that's when we use order by. It comes at the very end. So let's come in here and let's just say we want to do where has both arms is equal to, and then we'll do yes. So we're going to go ahead and run this. And now we have our output, and this looks great. But if they have both of their arms, maybe we want to take a look at who has the most net worth with both arms. And that is absolutely something I'm curious about. So now we're going to come in here, and we're going to go down. We're going to say order by. Now what we need to do is specify what column we're going to order it on. So we want to order on estimated net worth. And let's just go ahead and run this as is. So by default, we're looking at it in ascending order. Ascending means smallest to largest. So we have our smallest up top, 500, all the way down to our largest. Now, what if we wanted to go the other way? What if we want it to be highest first down to lowest? We can specify this. That's going to be DESC, which stands for descending. So highest to lowest. Let's go ahead and run this. And now we've just reversed it. We now have the highest up here down to the lowest. Now, although estimated net worth is by default ascending, if I am going to do it that way, I typically write it because I like to be explicit with my queries. I don't like to use defaults. That's just a best practice that I've come to learn over the years. It's better to write it explicitly so that there isn't anything that is just by default or might be misunderstood down the line. Or if a default changes, then if you save this query, this entire query could be changed later on. And so I like to be really explicit. So we're going to keep this descending right here because I think that works really well. But let's say I want to know, okay, there's other species here. We have droids, we have humans. I want to kind of break this up by species and then the estimated net worth. Well, we can do that. We can actually separate it right here. We're going to say species and then put a comma. And now I'll explicitly write this, but we're doing species ascending and then estimated net worth descending. That means we're going to take a look at the species and do it A to Z, because that's lowest to highest alphabetically, because now we're looking at text. And then next, we're looking at the estimated net worth. Because this is numeric, we're doing it descending highest to lowest. Let's go ahead and run this. And now you can see our species is alphabetical. So we have droid, droid, Gungan, human, 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 all the way down. And then within the droid, right here, and we can see that within the estimated net worth, now it goes highest to lowest. So it's 2,000 and then 1,500. If we go down to human, we can look at this right here. It goes human highest to lowest. But then it resets after each species. So droid highest to lowest, Gungan, there we go, human all the way down, unknown, that's its own, and Wookiee, it's its own. But it's ordering on the species first, and then a secondary order by is happening on the estimated net worth. You're going to use order by in almost all queries that you write. Not all the time, but I would say 80 to 85% of queries, I like to order it. And so this is something that you use all the time. Let's get rid of this. And I'm just going to use the estimated net worth. Now we want to limit how many queries we're actually returning. For example, I'm going to come down here. And limit would come after the order by. The order in your query is actually important. You cannot put limit here. There is an order of operations on how things actually run on the back end when they process your query. So if you put limit, at the top or something like that, it's not going to work. So there is an order of things. So we have a limit here. Let's say I just want to look at the most wealthy person who has both arms. And since we ordered it by estimated net worth descending, we're going to limit to the one person with the highest estimated net worth. Let's go ahead and run this. And now we're going to see it's Padme Amidala. So she has an estimated net worth of, is that 80 million or 8 million? It's high. She's the most wealthy person. But maybe I want to look at the top 3. I'm going to limit it to the top 3 wealthy people who have both their arms. So now we have Padme Amidala, Leia Organa, and Han Solo. We are simply limiting the rows in our output after all of these things already occur. Now there's one last thing that we're going to take a look at, and this is offset. I don't use this a ton. There's very few use cases where I use it, but I want to show it to you nonetheless. Offset just means it's going to skip a few rows before it actually shows you the limit. So let's go ahead and run this. So this is all of our output. What we're going to do is let's do an offset of 1. So let's come right down here. We're going to say offset 1. So we're going to skip this first row, and then we're going to limit it to the next 3. So we should have Leia Organa, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Han Solo in our output. Let's go ahead and run this. And there we go. Now, one thing to note, and this is a very small note, is that the estimated net worth for Han Solo and Obi-Wan Kenobi is the same. And so you'll notice they actually switched the output rows. Before, Obi-Wan Kenobi was above Han Solo. Now Han Solo is below Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's kind of switching up which row it's being on the output, but they are the same. If we want it to be more consistent, we would need to add an order by probably on the character name like we had before. But I just wanted to explain that really quickly. But that's what the offset does. And you can offset it by 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever number you want. But again, I don't use this one a ton. There's very few use cases where I've actually used it, but it is useful. And so I wanted to show it to you. I really hope that this lesson has been helpful. If you liked it, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next lesson.